do this.
No man can fully grasp how far and how fast we have come. But condense, if you will, the 50,000 years of man's recorded history in a time span of but a half a century. Stated in these terms, we know very little about the first 40 years, except at the end of them, advanced man had learned to use the skins of animals to cover them. Then about 10 years ago, under this standard, man emerged from his caves to construct other kinds of shelter. Only 5 years ago, man learned to write and use a cart with wheels. Christianity began less than 2 years ago. The printing press came this year. And then less than 2 months ago, during this whole 50-year span of human history, the steam engine provided a new source of power. Newton explored the meaning of gravity. Last month, electric lights and telephones and automobiles and airplanes became available. Only last week did we develop penicillin and television and nuclear power. And now, if America's new spacecraft succeeds in reaching Venus, we will have literally reached the stars before midnight tonight. This is a breathtaking pace, and such a pace cannot help but create new ills as it dispels old. New ignorance, new problems, new dangers. Surely the opening vistas of space promise high costs and hardships, as well as high reward. So it is not surprising that some would have us stay where we are a little longer, to rest, to wait. But this city of Houston, this state of Texas, this country of the United States was not built by those who waited and rested and wished to look behind them. For the eyes of the world now look into space, to the moon, and to the planets beyond. And we have vowed that we shall not see it governed by a hostile flag of conquest, but by a banner of freedom and peace. The exploration of space will go ahead, whether we join in it or not. And it is one of the great adventures of all time. Those who came before us made certain that this country rode the first waves of the Industrial Revolution, the first waves of modern invention, and the first wave of nuclear power. And this generation does not intend to founder in the backwash of the coming age of space. We mean to be a part of it. We mean to lead it. Its hazards are hostile to us all. Its conquest deserves the best of all mankind. And its opportunity for peaceful cooperation may never come again. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win on the other side.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
I think the momentous, most memorable thing that I can recall about that particular day was the opportunity while my two friends here were being put into the spacecraft to stand alone by myself out there and look at the rocket and the quietness and see the sun come up and the waves rolling in and the evidence of the millions of people watching, but nothing specific and just so quiet, and to realize that indeed such a contrast was going to take place, all the frantic activity preparing the rocket, but it was so quiet up there for me personally, and that in a very few moments we were going to be departing in a great roar and off for a momentous event.
I thought we had a 90% chance of getting back safely to Earth on that flight, but only a 50-50 chance of making a successful landing on the first attempt. There's so many unknowns in that descending from lunar orbit down to the surface that had not been demonstrated yet by testing. It's a risk-reward equation, and you're able to accept a level of risk so long as it's commensurate with the reward that you will get by achieving the goal that you're after.
T-minus 1 minute, 35 seconds on the Apollo mission, flight to land of the first men on the moon. All indications coming in to the control center at this time indicate we are go. 1 minute, 25 seconds and counting. Our status board indicates the third stage completely pressurized. 80-second mark has now been passed. We'll go on full internal power at the 50-second mark in the countdown. Guidance system goes on internal at 17 seconds, leading up to the ignition sequence at 8.9 seconds. We're approaching the 60-second mark on the Apollo 11 mission. T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We passed T-minus 60. 55 seconds and counting. Neil Armstrong just reported back. It's been a real smooth countdown. We passed the 50-second mark. Power transfer is complete. We're on internal power with the launch vehicle at this time. 40 seconds away from the Apollo 11 liftoff. All the second stage tanks now pressurized. 35 seconds and counting. We are still go with Apollo 11. 30 seconds and counting. Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Tower clear.
We got a roll program.
Neil Armstrong reporting the roll and pitch program, which puts Apollo 11 on proper heading. Plus 30 seconds.
Roll complete and engine program. One round.
Altitude's 2 miles.
Apollo 11 Houston, you're good at 1 minute.
Downrange 1 mile, altitude 3, 4 miles now. Velocity 2,195 feet per second.
11 Houston, thrusters go. All engines, you're looking good. Hi, Roger. You're loud and clear, Houston.
We're through the region of maximum dynamic pressure now.
11 Houston, your guidance is converged. You're looking good.
Set 8 miles downrange, 12 miles high. Velocity 4,000 feet per second.
Stand by for mode 1, Charlie. Mark, mode 1, Charlie. 1, Charlie.
Cliff Charlesworth taking a staging status.
This is Houston. You are go for staging. Tower's gone. Roger, tower. Inboard cutoff.
Inboard engines out.
I'm inboard cutoff. Houston, be advised the visual is go today. This is Houston. Roger out.
Yeah, they finally gave me a window to look out.
I think certainly to go as far away as the moon and look back on the Earth certainly does affect your perspective. And then when you see it, tiny as your thumbnail held out in front of you at arm's length, that sort of gets your attention. A beautiful sight, tiny, pristine, blue and white, very fragile-looking object, shining like a beautiful little headlight out there in the black velvet of space. It does change your perspective. It makes you think that we have to take better care of this little fragile entity, because it is fragile.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. Slightly less than 1 minute to ignition, and everything is go.
Roger, Apollo 11's go.
Ignition. We confirm ignition, and the thrust is go. Apollo 11, this is Houston at 1 minute. Trajectory and guidance look good, and the stage is good.
Apollo 11.
We're showing velocity 35,570 feet per second. Apollo 11, this is Houston. Around 3.5 minutes. You're still looking good. Your predicted cutoff is right on the nominal.
Roger, Apollo 11's go.
We're showing velocity 35,570
Wow.
feet per second. Altitude 177 nautical miles. Apollo 11, this is Houston. You are go at 5 minutes.
Roger, Apollo 11's go.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. Your go for separation. Our system's recommendation is arm both spiral buses, over.
Okay, Spiral B coming armed. My intent is to use bottle primary one as per the checklist, therefore I just turned day on.
Roger, we concur with the logic. Okay, we got the Eagle and D. Moving forward. meters. Meters. 8 meters. 6. 5 meters. 3. 2 meters. 1 meter. Eagle in view. Moving forward. Meters. 8 meters. 6. 5 meters. 3. 2 meters. 1 meter. Okay, we got the Eagle in view. Moving forward. 10 meters. 8 meters. 6. 5 meters. 3. 2 meters. 1 meter. And capture.
Did it, guys?
Apollo 11, this is Houston. Radio check, over.
Roger, we've got the high gain locked on now, I believe, auto tracking now.
Okay, you're coming in loud and clear, but Mike is just barely readable.
How is Neil? How are you reading, Mike?
Loud and clear now, Mike, and we understand that you are docked.
That's fine. Houston, we're ready for LAM ejection.
Roger, go for LAM ejection.
Thank you.
Apollo 11, this is Houston, over.
Roger, Houston, Apollo 11, go ahead.
Roger, could you give us some comments on how the transposition and docking went, over?
Yeah, I thought it went pretty well, Houston, although I expect I used more gas than I've been using in the simulator. Except for using a little more gas, and I'd be interested in your numbers on that. Everything went nominally.
This is Houston, Roger, we copy.
Eagle, Houston, the alignment and the initialization look good to us, over. Roger, thank you. Eagle, Houston, would you have Columbia go to the high gain, yaw 0, pitch -20, over? There you go, 1 minute till take. You guys take care. See you later. Apollo 11, Houston, we are go for undocking, over. Roger, understand. Roger, Eagle, undock. Roger, how does it look? The Eagle has wind. Roger. Eagle, Houston, we see you on the steerable, over. I do believe you got thrusters on board that vehicle. Okay, you've got it. Do it, data. Roger, let us know when you're ready to copy. We have a DOI pad and a PDI pad, over. Guidance says we're go. Coming up on 5 minutes to ignition, Gene Kranz getting a go, no-go for descent. Okay, all flight controllers, I'm going around the horn. Just going to make your go, no-goes based on the data you have prior to LOI. Let's see, we got it back. Give you another few seconds. We're going, fine. Okay, retro, go. Vital, go. Guide, go. Control, go. Telcom, go. GINSI, go. Ecom, go. Surgeon, go. Capcom, we're go to continue PDI. Altitude 5,200 feet.
Altitude 4200.
Houston, you're a go for landing, over.
Roger, understand. Go for landing. 3,000 feet. Top alarm. 1201.
1201. Roger, 1201 alarm.
2,000 feet. 2,000 feet. Into the ag. 47 degrees.
Roger.
47 degrees. Altitude 1600. Feet, still looking very good.
Roger, 1202, we copy it.
Feet, 21 down, 33 degrees. 540 feet down at 30. And a 50, 400 feet down at 9. 300 feet down, 3.5. 47 forward. 11 forward, coming down nicely, 200 feet. 4.5 down, 5.5 down. 100 feet, 3.5 down, 9 forward. 75 feet. That's looking good, down a half. 40 feet down, 2.5.
Yeehaw.
I'll leave it flu. Relay to it. See if they got me now. I got your signal strength and flu.
Okay, you should have him now, Houston. Eagle, we got you now. It's looking good, over. Eagle, Houston, after yaw around, angled S-band pitch, -9er, yaw, +18.
Altitude 5,200 feet. Manual out of tape control is good.
Roger, copy.
Altitude 4,200.
Houston, you're a go for landing, over.
Roger, understand. Go for landing. 3,000 feet. Top alarm. 1201.
1201. Roger, 1201 alarm. Where go? Same tide. Where go?
2,000 feet. 2,000 feet. Into the ag. 47 degrees.
Roger.
47 degrees.
Eagle looking great. Your go.
Altitude 1,600. 1,400 feet. Still looking very good.
Roger, 1202. We copy it.
35 degrees. 35 degrees. 750. Coming down to 23. 700 feet, 21 down. 33 degrees. 100 feet down at 19. 540 feet down at 30 and at 15. At 400 feet down at 9. Take forward. 1050 feet down at 4. 30, lift the half down. They're tagged on horizontal velocity. 300 feet down, 3.5. 47 forward. On 1.5 down. 70. Got the shadow up there. 50 down at 2.5. 19 forward. Altitude, velocity, light. 8.5 down. 220 feet. 15 forward. 11 forward, coming down nicely. 200 feet. 4.5 down. 5.5 down. Within 60 feet. 6.5 down. 5.5 down. 9 forward. And 20 feet. 100 feet, 3.5 down, 9 forward. 5%. 180 bite. Stay 75 feet. Guys looking good, down a half. 6 forward. 60 seconds. Lights on. Down 2.5. Forward. Forward. 40 feet, down 2.5. Picking up some dust. 30 feet, 2.5 down. Straight shadow. 4 forward. 4 forward. Drift into the right a little. Down a half. 30 seconds. Forward. Contact light. Okay, engine stop. ATA at a descent. Mode control both auto. Descent engine command override off. Engine arm off. 413 is in.
We copy you down, Eagle.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
I'm at the foot of the ladder. The limb footbeds are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches. Although the surface appears to be very, very fine-grained as you get close to it. It's almost like powder. Ground mass is very fine. I'm going to step off the limb now. That's 1 small step for man, 1 giant leap for mankind. As the surface is fine and powdery, I can pick it up loosely with my toe. It does adhere in fine layers, like powdered charcoal, to the sole and sides of my boot. I only go in a small fraction of an inch, maybe an eighth of an inch, but I can see the footprints of my boots and the treads and the fine sandy particles. Neil, this is Houston. We're copying. There seems to be no difficulty in moving around as we suspected. It's even perhaps easier than the simulations of 16G that we performed in various simulations on the ground. Absolutely no trouble to walk around. got something? Magnificent sight out here. Magnificent desolation. Yeah, surface material, powdery. I don't know how good your lens is, but if you can touches above. I want to back up and partially close the hatch. Making sure not to lock it on my way out. The Ethan engine did not leave a crater of any size. It has about 1 foot clearance on the ground. We're essentially on a very level place here. I can see some evidence of rays emanating. Okay, Houston, I'm going to change lenses on you. Roger, Neil. Okay, Houston, tell me.
This is the solar wind composition experiment. The sun continually emits a flux of electrically charged particles into space. This is termed the solar wind. The Earth's magnetic field prevents these charged particles from reaching the Earth's surface, although in the Earth's polar regions, these particles can reach the upper part of the atmosphere, causing auroras. The Moon is outside the Earth's magnetic field for most of each month and has a negligible atmosphere, allowing solar wind particles to reach the Moon's surface. The solar wind composition experiment was performed on Apollo 11, 12, 14, 15 and 16. It consisted of an aluminium foil sheet 1.4 metres by 0.3 metres that was deployed on a pole facing the Sun. This foil was exposed to the Sun for periods ranging from 77 minutes on Apollo 11 to 45 hours on Apollo 16, allowing solar wind particles to embed themselves into the foil. The foil was then returned to Earth for laboratory analysis. This allowed the chemical composition of the embedded solar wind to be determined more accurately than would be possible if the measurement were made using remotely controlled instruments on the Moon, but limited the periods at which observations could be made.
Pocket open, folks? Yes, it is. It's not up against your suit, so hit it back once more. Or more toward the inside.
Oh, no, I do.
Okay, that's good.
That's what I had to do because I ran out of my other from the States, which tastes way better than
It's a little difficult to dig through the... It's very interesting. It's a very soft surface, but here and there where I plug with the contingency sample collector, I run into very hard surface, but it appears to be very cohesive material of the same sort. Hey, Neil, didn't I say we might see some purple rocks? Find the purple rocks? Yep. Be advised that a lot of the rock samples out here, the hard rock samples, have what appear to be vesicles in the surface. Houston, roger out. And incidentally, these rocks, very powdery surface, Neil, this is Houston. Based on your camera transfer with the LEC, do you foresee any difficulties in SRC transfer over? Difficulties in SRC? Negative. Okay, it's quite dark here in the shadow and a little hard for me to see that I have good footing. I'll work my way over into the sunlight here without looking directly into the sun. Oh, that looks beautiful from there, Neil. It has a stark beauty all its own. It's like much of the high desert of the United States. It's different, but it's very pretty out here. Man, didn't know you could throw so far. You can really throw things a long way up here. I believe I'm out of your field of view. Is that right now, Houston? That's affirmative, Buzz. Neil is now unveiling the plaque that is. For those who haven't read the plaque, we'll read the plaque that's on the front landing gear of this LEM. There's two hemispheres, one showing each of the two hemispheres of Earth. Underneath it says, "Here men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon, July 1969 AD. We came in peace for all mankind." It has the crew members' signatures and the signature of the President of the United States. Are you getting a TV picture now, Houston? Neil, yes, we are getting a TV picture. Neil, this is Houston. We're getting a picture. You're not in at the present time. We can see the bag on the LECB.
The laser ranging retroflector experiment was deployed on Apollo 11, 14 and 15. It consists of a series of corner cube reflectors which are a special type of mirror with the property of always reflecting an incoming light beam back in the direction it came from. These reflectors can be illuminated by laser beams aimed through large telescopes on Earth. The reflected laser beam is also observed with the telescope, providing a measurement of the round-trip distance between Earth and the Moon. This is the only Apollo experiment that is still returning data from the Moon. Many of these measurements have been made by McDonald Observatory in Texas. Laser beams are used. The passive seismic experiment detected lunar moonquakes and provided information about the internal structure of the Moon. This experiment studied the propagation of seismic waves through the Moon and provided our most detailed look at the Moon's internal structure. The Apollo 11 seismometer returned data for just 3 weeks, but provided a very useful look at lunar seismology. More advanced.
Something interesting in the bottom of this little crater here.
The Lunar Flag Assembly, or LFA, was a kit containing a flag of the United States, designed to be planted by astronauts on the Moon during the Apollo program. 7 such flag assemblies were sent to the Moon, 6 of which were planted, the exception being the one carried on Apollo 13, which had to abort its landing due to a serious spacecraft failure. The nylon flags were hung on telescoping staffs and horizontal bars constructed of 1-inch anodized aluminium tubes. The flags were carried on the outside of the Apollo lunar module, most of them on the descent ladder inside a thermally insulated tubular case to protect them from exhaust gas temperatures calculated to reach 2000 degrees Fahrenheit or 1090 degrees Celsius. 6 of the flags were ordered from a government supply catalogue and measured 3 feet by 5 feet. The last one planted on the Moon was slightly larger, at 6 foot wide, the flag which had hung in the Mission Operations Control Room in the Manned Spacecraft Centre for most of the Apollo program.
Neil and Buzz. Tranquility Base, Houston. Roger, go ahead. Roger, our guidance recommendation is pings, and you're cleared for takeoff. Roger, understand. We're number one on the runway.
Roger.
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5. One stage, engine on ascent. Proceed. Beautiful. 26, 36 feet per second up. 5 to the pitch over. Very smooth. Balance come along. Very quiet ride. There's that one crater on there.
Thousand feet high, 80 feet per second vertical rise. Here you go, Houston. Request manual start override.
Roger.
2,600 feet altitude. Here you go, Houston. You're looking good to us. Houston, we got the service module going by.
Roger, thank you.
And it's rotating just like it should be. Thrusters are firing.
nautical miles high. Velocity 33,000 feet per second.
Houston, we'll have you for about 3-4 minutes through Redstone and then pick you up after blackout through Orion. Roger.
Guidance reports Apollo 11 right down the middle of the corridor.
And 11 Houston, you're going over the hill there shortly. You're looking mighty fine to us. See you later.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. No single space project in this period will be more impressive to mankind or more important for the long-range exploration of space, and none will be so difficult or expensive to accomplish.
Apollo 11, Houston, through Orion. Houston, man of line, Air Boss has a visual contact. Apollo 11 Houston, standing by for your dipsy reading, over. Apollo 11, this is Hornet, over. Apollo 11, read the last course, position 1330, 16915. Aircraft reports visual with 3 full tubes. Condition of crew, over. Condition of crew, 4,000